Chief Judge is Distinguished Toastmaster Leo. If the contestants are ready, Distinguished Judge, respected Judge, can we start the debate contest?
Yes, you may start. The judges are ready for our security.
Great. The topic today, once again let me repeat, is homeschooling is better than learning in school. Homeschooling is better than learning in school. Let me call upon the first affirmative constructive speaker from SP Jain. Put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Namita Ashok.
Learning can only happen when a child is interested. If he is not interested, it's like throwing marshmallows at his head and calling it eating. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests.
Good evening.
School learning versus home learning has become the #1 education questions for many families over the past 30 years. Some recent news reports claim that there's been about a 75% increase in homeschooling in the past 8 years. Let's outline this argument better. I'll try and get this segregated into 3 reasons: custom design curriculum, environment, and time. One of the basic advantages of homeschooling is students or parents can custom design their curriculum by themselves. To start with, students can master over work at their own level. Sometimes most of the students are not at the same level as others. For each course, they might be reading at a higher level than writing. They might not be good at math, but very much interested in chemistry. In fact, in the traditional schooling technique, even the best teacher cannot share care about each and every student level of hers. But homeschooling provides students the real progress and sets students' real level in each course to make sure they understand what they actually study. Those who prefer public school to homeschooling often argue that homeschooling students will suffer from lack of socialization. While this may have been true in the early years of homeschooling, it does not seem to be the case now. Most families, they participate in homeschool classes, either curricular or extracurricular, far more than focusing on the negative impact that can occur in certain school settings such as usage of drugs, early pregnancies, bullying. One such example like the recent murder case in Bombay, Blue Whale Challenge, etc. Homeschool families often have a point to the positive socialization which can occur in homeschooling environment. The argument is that this type of socializing is more true to life because these students spend more time socializing with people outside of their own peer groups, be it infants to the elderly. Most of us have attended public school ourselves. We are clearly masters of, I say, the cram, test and dump formula. In other words, academic work revolved around performing well on tests in order to earn good grades, in order to earn college admissions, scholarships. In this performance environment, students often cram the materials close to the test date, take the test, and then dump the information from their brains. A 2-minute silence for those who learn second order differentiation, solid state physics, strength of machines, digital processing, engineering, etc. Wanting to change the world, now earning salaries for making PPT Excels, printing and faxing. Ouch. Many families who choose to homeschool have rejected this formula in favor of mastery and lifelong learning. In order to promote mastery, homeschool parents provide different courses of action. One such example to this is the whole books approach to textbook approach. Instead of learning little by little about literature, reading experts in literature textbook, they read whole book and discuss them with family and friends. Homeschool students learn to take responsibility of their own education at early age. Hence, they're known to be self-motivated. They frequent socialize with adults and hence tend to be bright, curious, and articulate, which makes them attractive to companies as well as colleges. The last but not the least, the advantage, time. Students of homeschooling.
30-second silence for judges to mark the speaker from negative point, Dubai Oasis Toastmaster Club, Toastmaster Naeem Moidin. Put your hands together.
Respected chairperson, judges, fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, a very warm good evening to one and all.
Good evening.
Education is the foundation and the backbone of our nations. Do you agree?
Yes.
But at the same time, schools are not just limited to providing or pillars to knowledge and education, but also center for discipline and time management. Now these are qualities that students tend to thrive on, and kids want more of it. Let's take a comparison. Parenting and teaching are different entities, and not necessarily if one person tries to do both, they tend to struggle. Most of us tend to struggle. Homeschooling has a deficiency. Both parents are limited to work because one parent has to spend more time to teach and take care of the kids. At the same time, although their grades, their graduation, and their credentials to teach are questionable, even if they do tend to prepare, they always end up overdoing, and as the kid grows into a higher age, it gets tougher for them. And even with multiple kids, it gets more tougher. On the other hand, you have teachers who have formidable educational degrees, specialized subjects, and are trained to act upon and facilitate assimilation, preparation, and dissemination of information effectively to various age groups. Social interaction is another vital concept. I do believe that the environment is very essential for a child's social upbringing, and a school environment is absolutely essential in it. School facilitates same age interactions. Kids from various different backgrounds and cultures tend to mingle, and most of us have our best couple of friends from school and high school. At the same time, school promotes group events, team events, which tends to instill team player roles and effects a positive effect of team efforts. Schools also provide extracurricular facilities like sporting facilities, training facilities, formation of clubs, so that the kids can intelligently approach their interests and work on it. Now, this is an aspect that is certainly deficient in general for most of the homeschooling kids. Now, school also provides a sense of competitiveness. Now, we all know that the brain works best under pressure, and a healthy pressure brings the best out of us and the kids. Right? On a lighter note, school also provides that small window of break for the parents from the kids, and more so, a break for them from us. Right? In general, to summarize, at present, the homeschooling system is not a full-fledged entity as such, and has several shortcomings to make it as effective as a schooling entity. Schools have proven to be elements of essential success, and they tend to provide different curriculums so that we may approach our kids exclusively. Now, since this is all about education, I'd just like to summarize by saying a few words from C.V. Wedgwood, who said that an educated man should know everything about something and something about everything. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, timer. Please note that from here onwards, all the speakers will have 3 minutes speaking time. 2 minutes 30 seconds and 3 minutes 30. Put your hands together for the rebuttal speech on the affirmative side from SP Jain to welcome Toastmaster.
Ramesh.
From this.
For negative side, to welcome from the Oasis Toastmaster Club, Toastmaster Anas Abdul Majid.
Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. My worthy opponent started with statistics. In favorable for homeschooling, 75% of students do homeschooling. Most of the statistics, how many of us have done homeschooling here? None. See, the statistics which is being published mostly in US are partial truths. In other words, these are farrago of misrepresentation, miscalculation, misinterpretation, distortion, and whatnot. It's not a part of double-blind, randomized controlled studies or any study with any scientific validity. These are all observational, anecdotal reports, which doesn't carry any weightage. Going to the second point, my worthy opponent was telling about that the students are not of the same level. See, schooling, learning in schooling, we go to a cross-section of the society, where it's a reflection of the society. We need to interact with the society. Then only we will become social animal. If without the society, what would we become? Not Homo sapiens. We will become something like Homo erectus or Homo or Neanderthals or something. So Homo sapiens, the speciality is social animal. Interact with the society, not within the home. Socialization. They're telling poor socialization. It can't be generalized at all. There are some schools with problems, with drug addicts, or a poor education system where spoon-fed and things like that. But that doesn't mean you abolish school. You have problems in the family. Would you abolish family? No. That's a system which needs correction, and that needs to be addressed. My colleague has already spoken about homeschool parents, about the qualification. I'm not repeating that. See, we know the qualification and the way they interact with their siblings. They can only interact with their siblings. They can only, whom will they debate with? If they want to debate, they will debate with the siblings. Okay, they may be having some limited exposure with homeschooling kids of the locality, but that's very limited. See, it's like when the diamond is in a mud, if you put water into that, you wouldn't see the diamond. You take it out and put little amount of water, the mud will go and it will shine. That is the education, and the training will give the value to us to shine. And if we adopt homeschools, like my worthy opponent told, it will be
For summing up, now from affirmative side, rebuttal. From affirmative side, put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Atul Sinha.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Mr. Naeem Moeedi has shared some insightful thoughts today, which I would like to retract. He said education is the foundation and backbone. Very well said. Schools today are being commercialized. Fees have increased from, say, 100 rupees previously in terms of figures to a multiple of 1000% today. So, even though it is the foundation and backbone, education, schools are being terribly commercialized. It is a center for discipline and time management, he said. And he also said that parenting and teaching, there's a deficiency in the qualification of the parents for the parenting and teaching. Homeschooling is not limited to just the parents teaching. It is beyond the boundaries of the school, and a home tutor can be actually bought in for the homeschooling purposes. He said that the teachers are highly qualified, come with specialized degrees and can deliver excellence. Please tell me, in today's schools, out of say 1:50 ratio, how many teachers can give individual attention to each and every child? Definitely not possible. Some kids are smart and some are slow. The smart kids get bored and the slow ones are lost. Social interaction. Today's generation has terribly changed. There are a lot of bad things that is going on out there. In terms of a social interaction, at what cost are we sending our kids to school? One rotten apple is enough to spoil the entire lot. He said that the speaker said that the group events are not possible when it comes to homeschooling. In homeschooling, in today's times, there are a lot of committees out there that cater to all these facilities. There are homeschooling committees out there. With competitiveness and pressure, at the young age of 8 or 10 or 12, you're expecting a child to handle pressure. A little bit of a story that goes back. My little brother, who's 14 years younger to me, got beaten up by his teacher, and my mother asked, did you make a scene in a ruckus and did you cry loudly? You know what he said? He said that, Ma, it is embarrassing to cry in front of a girl. Imagine an 8-year-old child saying that. That is the kind of pressure that gets built up during your younger days. He also said that a small window of break is available for the parents. Anyone who's not done homeschooling, for the vast majority, have never experienced the wonders of a loving parent in terms of an education that can deliver. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
To make negative summing up, put your hands together to welcome from Dubai to Oasis Toastmaster Namit Najib.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, it's an honor to be in front of you today. A very good evening to all of you.
Good evening.
We had a good round of discussions on the topic for the day, school-based learning or homeschooling. As a team, we are convinced beyond doubt that the way to go forward is school-based learning. Yes, like both sides discussed about, there are pros and cons on the school side and the homeschool side. But let me touch upon some of the very important points that I was brought forth. Like the skills of the educator in this particular context. The parent versus the trained teacher. How are we going to evaluate that? A parent who's taking time out of their busy schedule to try and educate his kids at the same level as what's happening in school. What happens to all the soft skills for these kids? How about peer learning? How about falling in love for the first time? How about time management? How about group learning? How about competitive skills? What does all happen? My friends from SP Jain brought about statistics and explained about the morale of students and the pressure that they undergo. But statistics are more often not adequate to explain the underlying currents of any system, be it education or not. And we can't always put our child in a cocoon, like our friends were saying, that we have to protect them from the external world of bullying and harassment and pressure. We can't do that for the rest of their lives. And like my friend mentioned, we are all societal animals. We learn from the society. So it is important for us in that context to put our children in a system where they are learning from their peers. While also I would like to mention a point regarding one of our affirmative speakers mentioned regarding the student to the teacher ratio, which is actually drastically coming down. The number of students per teacher is actually coming down. With that, I would like to summarize by saying that as a team, and I would like to present a notion in front of you, that we are convinced, we believe that the schooling system is the way to go. And for all the stakeholders involved in the system, right from the child to the parent to the society at large, this is an effective system to take forward rather than a system where we are putting things at risk in the lap of the parents. The parents have all the love in the world, all the affection in the world, but in all probability they're not great teachers. With that, I would like to close my summation here. Thank you.
To today's debate, we have from affirmative debate session from SP Jain. Put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Paramita Devnata.
We strongly are in favor of mastery and lifelong learning and completely against the cram, test, dump formula as mentioned by my team applicable to the non-school, homeschool goers. Good evening, Chief Judge, good evening judges, moderator, and my dear friends. Considering the fact that we all in the audience are not homeschoolers, we will not understand the boon homeschooling can provide to a homeschooler. Can we imagine how it would be, have been in our childhood, or even in the days of our child, for the ones who have child? Life without examinations, without comparison of marks, CGPAs, interview admissions, admissions for interviews in top schools, scholarships, grades, etc. We can assure you as a team that it would have been a wonderful experience to be free of all these elements and obligations. We keep hearing that child is an artist, and we as a team believe that homeschooling provides you a platform for a child to be more creative, be more positive, under the umbrella of the loving parents, to groom to be better human being first and then effective leaders. I would like to emphasize on the 5 points rightly highlighted by my team, the benefits of homeschooling versus schoolgoing. The first being custom designed curriculum. It's a very, very competitive world. We know that we have to create a niche for ourselves. We don't have time to go through so many curriculums, so many courses which we're not interested in. So it's always better to pick and choose courses we are an expert in and our skills can reflect, and we can probably design a better career for ourselves in the future. The second very important point highlighted by my team is a favorable environment which we get at home. For us, like she said, we all are individual. We all as individuals are very unique. Our level of accepting knowledge is pretty different from each other. So when we are at a comfortable situation, at a comfortable place, we learn more, and we intend to be more comfortable, more positive, and more inclined towards learning in a home environment. The third important point was time, the optimum use of time. We don't have to sacrifice on extracurriculum activities. We do not have to sacrifice. We can effectively control time. The fourth important point is safety, very well highlighted by my team. We cannot compromise with the safety of a child to send them to school. Today, the wake of tragedies which happens in school,
Schooling is better than learning in school by the first round of Division B Inter-Club contest. Let us give 2 minutes.